And Derek,
really well
job
done by Derek.
Oh, what a big snipe!
And Russo gets backed out of cut.
No way! No way! No way!
All right, ladies and gentlemen, how are you all doing today? How are you all doing this fine Friday or Saturday, depending on where you live right now? We are having a late night / early morning cast for you all. Unfortunately, Apocalypse Emerald only likes to play at stupid times, so their last few matches have been at this hour, but this time we were able to get a team, or supposedly we did get one, unfortunately. My boy Zexus is not here right now. Hopefully he comes around pretty shortly. For now, I'll just take it upon myself, I guess. I'll hold the load down, hold the fort. So we are having a Division 1 match between Sakura and Apocalypse Emerald. A storyline that we can pretty much express right now is that both of these teams are struggling early on. We have Sakura with 4 points to start off with, and Apocalypse Emerald with 2. I think for the case of Apocalypse Emerald, they really haven't, lived up to their full potential. And especially since they created 3 teams, I don't think it's... I mean, you can create 3 teams and try to at least have one team be dominant, but to have the first team struggle in D1, it's not really a good look. I mean, when you do create 3 teams, it can be a little bit difficult to have, solid chemistry with any one of those 3. But I thought for sure that Apocalypse Emerald would at least keep it close, at least keep it competitive, but they do have some work to do. In terms of this particular match, in terms of their lineup, we're looking at Chills, Hawk, Batcake, Thunder, and Kaizo. It was Mike initially playing, but it is going to be Hawk subbing in for Mike, and we'll see Batcake in the POV today. So how I feel about this particular lineup today, I do have a couple question marks. Number 1, how is Chills going to perform? He hasn't played too much this season. I know he has a lot of experience with AP. He's been here since 2016, 2017. Has a lot of experience with AP1. Back in Spring Split, he played for AP1. And Batcake, also a very formidable individual, for very prominent AP player, but a little bit stronger on the running side. I do think that we're going to be looking at him quite a lot today, especially since he is our POV for the night. We are going to have to look at him as a player to watch, because when he's on his day, he is an absolutely solid player. But he is one of the more spotty players in the game, as well as him struggling a little bit with comms. So we'll see how he performs today. They're going to need him today. That's something that they are going to need today. Hawk also hasn't played too much. It's mainly been Mike and Chills playing for Hawk. I'm not sure if it's an availability issue or a tactical one, but Hawk has a lot of experience in the game. It's been around since the early 2010s, and I do think that if they're going to have to pull a rabbit out of the hat, if they're going to pull a rabbit out of the hat this season, then Hawk is certainly someone to look at. Has a lot of bagging experience, but he is going to be running today. Has experience with Ethereal back in the Spring Split as well. A very underrated player for Ethereal back in the day, and he's going to have to come up big today. Bagging lineup here, or bagging battle, will be Kaizo versus Jazak. Of course, the main storyline behind Sakura and their bagging issues is, of course, Ensec / Adam getting caught with hacks. So we'll see how Jack slots in the lineup. I do think that Kaizo has the edge over Jazak on paper here, but Jazak has bagging experience, so I don't think he's going to be, giving up the shot count too easily. I do think there are certain tracks in which he's good at and certain tracks in which he struggles with. One of those tracks, if we're talking about the latter, tracks that he struggles with, is Maple Treeway. I've noticed that in a couple of the casts that I've done in the past in which he was bagging, he did struggle a little bit with the backwards strat in MT. So we'll see if Kaizo can take advantage of that. But there are a couple of other tracks that he's decent at. So we'll see how that bagging battle goes. In terms of the running lineup, it's a little top heavy again. We got Jaker, Frozen, the main 2 runners, and then we got Sam and Fusion to back them up. Fusion has kind of showed out this season, though. He has had a couple of good performances. Notably, the week 1 match against AP1, he dropped, I think, a little over 100 in that particular match. I don't think he is in the Indiv chart, if we take a look at that. Hasn't played... No, he is in the... Okay. So he's in 15th position right now in the Indies with 28. Had a good showing in that first week, like I mentioned, but kind of spotty performances a couple of times, especially that performance against, I think it was Velicor, yeah. Made a couple of errors, notably in lap 2, in which he hit a car in first after, of course, Frozen did the same thing right before that, actually. So if we're talking about Sakura as a whole and their keys to win, limit the mistakes. That is something that they really need to work on. Frozen and Jake are two very, very strong players. Jake are a little bit more on the consistent side. Frozen is one that I've noticed that every once in a while he does let the emotions get to his head, and he does let the nerves get to his head. He is going to be streaming, so I don't think, you know, stream nerves are going to be too much of a factor because he's been there, he's done that. But every now and again, I've noticed that Frozen does tend to make a mistake here and there that can cost his team, and that kind of was the precedent in that match against VC. So we'll see how he performs today. I think Fusion is going to be that third runner that we really need to look at. I think Fusion is going to have to show out today, because if we see an instance in which Frozen does make that error, then Fusion is going to have to back him up. And Sam kind of struggled a little bit this season, so we'll see how he performs in this particular matchup. Not on the Indiv chart, despite playing a sufficient amount of matches for Sakura this season, so we'll see how he does. And then in the bagging department, like I mentioned, Kaizo with the advantage. And overall, I feel like it's going to be a pretty close match. In the end, I do predict Sakura to take this one home. I do think it's going to be a Sakura victory by, I'm going to say 28. But keep the bagging battle in mind. I do think Kaizo is going to show out today. I do think he's a very underrated bagger, and I do think that he is going to show out today. So we'll see what happens. The shock is a very powerful item, as we all know. That being said, we're going to be starting off here with Dry Ruins as the first track. Sakura coming out with this one. We'll see how Apocalypse Emerald can counter this potential track pick. The sand hop is going to be very important here. That being said, Sakura versus Apocalypse Emerald, ladies and gentlemen, we are underway. Frozen doesn't have stream audio on, so I will look to get some music on in just a second. Gets a nice bomb snipe off to, oh, okay, Chills actually lags out of it. So it was a 1-in-1 exchange in the end. I thought it was going to be a 2-in-1 exchange. That was a necessary risk that he had to make there to break up those top spots. But now Backache is going to find himself up there. I don't know what's going on there. Backache was able to make the wall glitch there, so we're going to be seeing him break in first a little bit more. As for the bagging battle, Jazak is falling behind a little bit, so it's going to be Kaizo winning out here, and that's going to be very important because we could maybe see a blue cancel later on if a blue were to come lap 3. Frozen does miss the triple shroom ultra quite heavily there, so he's going to be falling down to 8th, and Fusion's going to be in 6th. Yeah, SA are falling behind a little bit here. It looks to me like Backkick actually gets, yeah, he hits a back spam actually. From lap 1, so he's going to be falling behind a little bit here. Now we're going to be seeing Hawk overtaking second. It's going to be a 2-3-4 still for AP. Interesting that Backache did not go for that Mega Ultra. That could be a sign that they are possessing the shock at the moment. Is he going to go for the hop dodge? No, doesn't go for it. Instead, he's going to be using his Mega. Hits a couple of walls, but there is the shock regardless. He's going to be able to back that bomb onto Jake. Frozen does dodge up, though. We'll see how much of a factor that plays. So far, we're looking at a top 3... or 1, 3, 4, 5 actually for AP. The blue's going to be coming in onto Backache though. Makes the wall glitch not cleanly, but it is enough to at least maintain his position. No, the POW comes in right after he releases the MT, so going to be putting him off a little bit, but Frozen's the only one up here at the moment. AP are holding down. Actually, Fusion is in first after that blue. He was able to overtake, so it's going to be a 1-4. I forgot that Fusion was in second there. He wasn't able to slip into first with that blue. So good work there from Kaizo to be able to pull the shock. And for sure, I thought that was going to be a good race for AP. But Fusion holding down the fort there in second after he was able to come up. I think he got a good chain. He was able to either golden up or take the triple shroom cut after getting shocked into boxes, it looked to me like. And he was able to hold the fort down. So even race there, and I do think that certainly benefits Sakura more so than AP due to the oh yeah, actually they get a 1-3-5 out of that, so definitely a missed opportunity there for AP. It certainly benefits Sakura more so than AP due to the oh yeah, actually they get a 1-3-5 out of that, so definitely a missed opportunity there for AP. going to be moving on here. Sherbet Land is going to be the counter pick for AP. Instead it picks MT. I mean, this is a prominent 1-3-5 track pick here, and if Sakura plays their cards right, even if AP get a couple of good boxes in the mid spots, I mean, Sakura should be able to hold them off as long as third takes the cut and is able to take it cleanly, unless, you know, he clips the dirt pretty early and loses a lot of speed. We'll see what happens. We'll see how Sakura will play their cards. Third does not hop and cut. Very interesting. Let me switch. Actually, it is on Backkick's POV right now. It looks to me like a 1-1 exchange with that fib. Actually, a 2-0 exchange. We saw Chills and Hawk getting caught by that. So it's going to be a top 2 early on for SA. Not the cleanest jack there from Backkick. So we're going to see Sam slipping up. Backkick overtakes, though, with that shroom. A little bit of lag there. And this is an early top 3 for SA. This is definitely a position that they want to be in at the moment. And Sam, you know, going to be getting that box, trying to potentially schlag, maybe getting triple reds or triple greens or something along those lines to give them a little bit more of a break. Nice red break there from Backkick. Really hugs the wall. And that's not usually a spot that you know, break the red there. It's a very unorthodox spot there, but he's able to get that off, able to keep that third. Very important that he did so. But he hits that tight back spam. You know, SA backing tight just to keep him at bay. We see Frozen slipping up into third with triple shrooms. This is monumental for Frozen. He's going to really be able to pull away from that that top 3. And also, I mentioned this is a track that Jazak kind of struggles with a little bit in the bagging department, but it looks to me like it is 50-50 at the moment. So we'll see what happens later on. This does favor SA, though. They're, you know, Kaizo's able to just sit back and relax and maybe even bait a little bit if he does pull a box. Maybe delay a little bit. You're not able to bait the fact that you have the shock, because if you get the shock, usually baggers go forward rather than backward. Usually if you go backward, you're just trying to, you know, make it shockless rather than baiting that you have the shock. But we'll see what happens. Backkick with the mega here is gonna be out. He's gonna have to use it here to break up, or try to break up those top spots at the very least. Maybe gets, yes, I was gonna say maybe try to get a golden or triple shrooms. Gets the golden if he's able to, okay, he has to use it early there to avoid you know, getting redded or green. Chills gets random green off of the loop-de-loop there. The green did loop around that corner, and now we're going to be seeing a even further solid. I don't know what happened to Frozen there. Was it a backspin that he hit earlier? I'm not entirely sure, but the POW ends up screwing Backkick, is allowing Frozen to keep his second there. Frozen just barely able to get in the air to avoid that POW. It's going to be a top 2 still for SA. Top 3 actually, with Jake locking down third. There's going to be a bill coming up here from Hawk, but nothing doing. And that is going to be another solid race for Sakura. They are pulling ahead. You know, I was really surprised that they didn't hop in the cut in the beginning, but they were able to maintain their top spots, especially with a couple of AP getting hit out early on. It was Hawk and Chills getting fibbed right before the cannon, preventing them from potentially shrooming up in case they did pull a couple of good items in that first set. And SA were just able to run away with it. A little bit of a slip up there with Frozen on that little beacon turn, but I mean, regardless, the score, it's all about the scoreline. Scoreboard says it all. Oh man, it's a pleasure to be doing this solo cast at the moment. I mean, this is something I haven't done since Wallywogs versus Avail, the very first match in the Final 8 tournament. That's the last time I ever did a solo cast. So I'd like to think that I have the capability to solo cast, but it's rather difficult, let me say, especially if you're hosting at the same time doing scores and whatnot. We are going to be seeing a BC week coming out here. Very good track for a top 3. Thank you, Mac, for rating. I appreciate it. Imagine betting money on MQE. Yeah, AP liked those money matches, especially with Smoke. I mean, he has an infinite amount of money. I mean, he pays his players whenever he does well. He is essentially, I mean, it is an esports type of it. I mean, this game is maybe not going to be an esport, but we are treating this game as if it were an esport. And you know, Smoke is the GM of the team. He provides the contracts when necessary. That being said, though, SA in top 3 with Jake backing tight, having Frozen go wide. Good idea there. I don't think it connects in the end. And Backkick has a decision to make here. He's going to opt not to go for the glitch, actually. He has that bill in 6th. But this isn't too bad either. You know, if you run this up all the way to 5th, assuming, you know, 5th gets bombed or greened out or whatever. I think I saw Thunder making the glitch there on the other POV. Yeah, he's able to get into 3rd. He had a green revolving, but he wasn't able to threaten with that. But yeah, Backache just holding down this this Bill in 7th at the moment. The bagging battle is favoring Jazak, so able to rectify his kind of poor DDR race. And we're going to see a little bit of action here with Frozen attempting to schlag, but Chills had used his Mega just a split second before. So Frozen's just going to run with this, tries to schlag at the very last frame there, but does not connect. This is going to be... Yeah, he's going to have to hold on to this POW for quite some time. Doesn't want to target POW the top 2, but this could be a very good position to target POW Chills on the last turn. It's a very prominent target POW spot. Is he going to slow down a little bit to get a box beforehand? No, instead he gets Chills in the air, opts to get the box instead. Interesting decision there. Had he held that POW a little bit longer, he would have definitely gotten Chills into the wall there. And, yeah, Thunder's going to be locking it down here. No, he gets backed and then bumped off. Little bit of a 1-2 combination there from SA. A blue's going to be coming in, though, to nullify the damage. In terms of the shock status, I do think that's going to be Kaizo trying to drop a star potentially, but nothing doing in that situation. Still a top 2 here for SA. We are still seeing Backache holding on to that Bill, going left side once again. Not confident in the glitch. I mean, we've seen him take it before. Not super consistent with it, but he's definitely not one to shy away from it. He's playing it very safe here. Going to be billing all the way up to 1st, though. We'll see how... Yeah, that bill actually extended for a little bit longer. Took him past the boxes. Little frame, half-second later. But that shock will come in. He's going to be able to secure 1st with that 2-3-4, though, for SA. The bill was... I mean, the bill really treated him kindly there. Took him a half-second past the expiration date and is able to keep his 1st. I like that he did hold on to the bill in lap 1 because he was in 6th with it, and if a couple people got backed, he would have had that bill in a very prime position, but he fell all the way to 8th with it and didn't go for it. Nonetheless, though, he was able to read the field and realize, you know, he was able to predict that he was able to get up to 1st, so nicely done there from Backache. Other than that, though, it's an SA solid race. The lead now up to 39. I wonder what AP is going to go here. They're in a dire situation, right? I mean, only 2 points in the first 5 matches. Got a couple bonus points, but not a single win to their name. You got to think that they are a little bit desperate here. Maybe not right now, as it is still very early on in the war. However, they're going to have to pull a rabbit out of the hat, and they're going to have to do it soon. Jungle Parkway's coming out here from SA. Interesting track pick in 2, 3, 4, 5. I thought for sure they might have picked something like RBC. They could have gotten a couple of drafts off on their players, but instead they're going to be opting for a little bit more of an unorthodox track pick here. We'll see how well he's able to keep his 1st. Also, for those of you that are just joining, for some reason, I can't get the race score up there. Like, I try to change it to black, but it won't let me, so we're just going to be seeing a blank screen, unfortunately, for Backache. That being said, we are going to see Chills slip into 2nd after getting the draft. This is what you want early on in Parkway, and it's kind of a chess match, really, to avoid backspams. Are you going to go tight? Are you going to go wide as a runner that's trailing an opponent? Do you go tight? Do you go wide? They do opt to go for that double back, but SA play it really safe there and are able to go really wide. And Backache, I do think it's a good idea for him to schlag a little bit with this. Really slow down Frozen. Opts to go for the back spam, but Frozen cuts inside of both of those back spams. Nicely done there from Backache to be able to get that back off, though. Jake is able to slip into 2nd. Only had, I think, triple shrooms. Is he able to shroom up to 1st? Yeah, I saw him shroom up to 1st there. Whether he has another one in pocket, I'm not entirely sure, but is going to be able to kind of give SA a little bit of life here. And that being said, Jack is holding on to the shock at the moment, it looks to me. Yep. Kind of losing out in that exchange. Not sure if he got it in 10th or 9th, but nonetheless, this is going to be looking very good for SA here. Especially occupying, well, only 1-4 though. Do you want to go for that single dodge on first, or do you want to dodge people in the cannon? If you have a lot of dodges, okay, that was a nice snipe there coming in from Chills. He is known to make a play every now and again. We'll see how Frozen is looking here. Unfortunately, catches Fusion, I think, with a green accidentally as Fusion came up. But do you want to dodge first? If you have a lot of dodges outside, I don't think it's a bad idea. But back kick is in first nonetheless. That pow coming in, that shot coming in, getting second into... Okay, this is going to be huge. No, Jake shares the star there. Had back kick gotten that a split second earlier, he could have maybe starred Jake trying to go for it. But that is going to be Jake getting up to that first position. Frozen's going to be using a Mega here. Early on. Interesting idea there. I think he was trying to maybe get up to Hawk. Chain a box there to try to get him out, but Hawk has triple reds, has protection. This is going to be a key exchange here. Hawk, they both split the fib, I think. A little bit of lag there, but Sam is able to back Hawk on the second run back. That is going to be Thunder coming up in a star, though. Chills comes up in a star. Very hectic, chaotic ending there, but I think that is going to favor SA very slightly in the end. Damn. I'm trying to think, because that was a misplay from Frozen. I don't think you're able to go over a fib in that situation, but, you know, kind of in a tricky position there. The fib on the right side and Hawk with triple reds on the left. And, you know, he tried to go for that Superman over the fib potentially, because had he gone down that left-hand channel, it would have been most likely a backspam in the face from Hawk there. But unfortunately for Hawk, he gets caught. And, yeah, it's going to be a decent race there for SA. In the end, it's going to be a plus 36 GP there for SA. RBC is going to be coming out here for Sakura. They are occupying 2, 4, 6. Maybe not the most ideal spots. It's, you know, picking RBC. It is the definition of, maybe not the definition of a neutral track, but, I mean, in alt spots, it is most certainly a neutral track. We'll see. We are going to be seeing Moonview Highway coming out, though. AP is going to be occupying 4th. Frozen is most certainly going to have to swerve, or no, whoever that is in first is going to have to swerve to prevent that draft. Looks to me like Jake does go for that swerve. And now Backache is in drafting position, but Jake very smartly holding his drift there, preventing the draft. And preventing Backache to avoid that red. You know, had he drafted, he maybe could have sideswiped Jake on the way in. But nicely done there from Jake. That is a veteran move from the former KG player. Former KG DZ player. Now we're going to be seeing a top 2 here as Frozen is able to slip into first. Backache is going to be holding on to a star here. Backing battle fairly even at the moment. It looks to me like... Uh-oh. No, sir. We saw a troll on the other POV. It was Kaizo on that very leftmost box, or rightmost box on the bagger POV, just staying still in a star, hoping desperately not to troll anybody, but he does catch. I think that was Fusion he did catch in that exchange. So we are going to be seeing a -20, ladies and gentlemen. That is most certainly something that you do not want at this stage, especially with this lead. That being said, Jazak is winning out on the bagging exchange too, so that troll could be for nothing essentially, because if you get a troll, maybe it'll be okay if you do pull the shock in the end, but I think we're going to be seeing later on an SA shock. We did see Frozen dodging the blue. No! I eat my words. Backache coming up the rear, and Jake getting shocked into the car, ladies and gentlemen. Is that a 9er coming out from Kaizo? Or maybe he did overtake Jack. I wasn't able to see that in the end, but it's going to be a... Looks to me like a 2. Is that a 2-3-4 I see? Yes. Thunder was in a mega. Good point, Frank. Thunder was in a mega after, while he did get trolled in that situation. So maybe could have chained for a 6th place box and gotten all the way up to a top 2 spot. But regardless, he's able to get 4th behind the 2-3 of AP. So in the end, the troll didn't matter. And that's what makes the troll penalty even more crucial. The fact that it didn't affect the race in the end. And I mean, I don't want to go as far as to say that I don't blame Kaizo, because he did stay still. He tried desperately not to troll anybody. He was aware of the fact that he was in a terrible position, but you don't want to go in a star in that particular instance. You can shroom, you can golden, but in that part of the track, using a star is really, really risky, especially since, you know, you can have a couple of runners go wide to get that wide box. You really have nowhere to go in that situation if you find yourself at that set. So Kaiser just essentially was a sitting duck there. And I don't know why I have a freaking penalty for Sakura rather than AP. So it's going to be 166 to 199. I don't know why. I thought for some reason he was a... That's the thing. That's the thing. I get confused. 166 to 99. Sorry about that. That was the first mistake that I made in the solo cast. I figured I'd made a mistake. I would make a mistake at some point, and there it was. So with that, I mean, Sakura is going to be extending their lead. That being said, though, Frozen is able to stay in first. Usually starting in first in this particular track is not the most ideal thing in the world. We'll see if Backcake is going to be able to maybe overtake him. No, Frozen takes very solid lines to maintain his first. We'll see how he approaches this section right here. Ooh, yeah, a little late on that back spam, and also kind of slow on the landing there. So it's going to allow Backcake to get up into first, and, you know, good back spam there from Backcake. It's going to be a 1-3. I thought Hawk was going to come up the rear, so it's going to be a 1-4 instead for AP. A bomb here is going to be very crucial. Tells Fusion to go wide. Good coordination in the end there. Gets 2 of AP in that exchange. So it's now going to be a solid 2-3-4 here coming out for SA. Ooh, that tight back spam, and Frozen's able to go ultra tight of that. I noticed that Frozen likes to stay tight despite the threat of the back spams. I think in this case, you want to go ultra tight as well. You don't want to hit the wall, though, as we saw with Casper when NON played against Sakura. No, it was against... I forget who they played against, actually. It was against Sakura, yeah. He was able to cut inside, but he did clip the wall in the end. That being said, though, does get the red off, Frozen does, onto Backcake, now allowing Sam to get up into second. It's going to be a top 4 now. Actually, top 3. We did see Jake slow down in the cannon there. Backcake initially slowed down, but Jake was trying to slow down as well. I think it's going to be a shock prediction, potentially. No shock coming out from either side. No bagger really possesses it, I don't think. Maybe one of the baggers starred the other, potentially. Sam going wide. Good coordination there from Sam, but Frozen. Oh, yeah, SA are going to be falling behind here. I'm not sure to which extent that's going to favor AP, as they still are in bottom spots here, and accidentally stars Hawk in the end there, but Backcake does get the red off onto Frozen and bumps him off, so it's going to be a fairly even race in the end. Kind of a chaotic race there, to be honest. I'm not really sure how that red came off onto Backcake, because I thought for sure he was going to be able to hold on to his spot. Yeah, that red seemed to have traveled for ages. Yeah, Backcake did back a green on the bridge section there. Doesn't connect onto Frozen. That's the reason. Backcake did not have protection in that situation. And, you know, it's a long way to that first set of boxes once you do use up your protection there. So I don't want to say it's a misplay from Backcake necessarily, because SA were 2-3-4, and his intention was most certainly to try to get AP up there. But in the end, that was kind of the turning point of that race, aside from obviously that mistake from Frozen. We'll see what AP are going to come out here to potentially start a comeback here, but just based on the pattern that we've seen so far from Apocalypse Emerald, just based on their past performances in this season, it's going to be a very tough task. It's going to be, you know, especially against a team like Sakura, maybe not one of the stronger teams in D1, but when you have 2 really solid players in Frozen and Jaker up in the front holding down the fort, I mean, it's going to be a very tough task, most certainly. And so far, we really haven't seen that much from Chills, only 29 after 6. Found himself up there on a couple of exchanges, but, you know, eating a lot of back spams, notably that first fib right before the cannon in Maple Treeway in lap 1. But that being said, Backcake is still in first. He's able to lock it down. Chill's able to get that Mega off. And, yeah, Backkick is a little bit behind, so we'll see this double exchange here. Almost, yeah, he does get bumped, actually. I thought for sure he was going to recover there, but in the end, Fusion does take the Ultra as well. Not Ultra, the double. Yeah. We'll see what the bagging battle is looking like here. We do see the baggers kind of struggling a little bit, but in the end, it's going to be Kaizo making the strat. Let's take a look at Jazak here. Let's take a look at the body language. No, he makes the strat. Yeah, he makes the strat. He does not have the shock here. A lot of the times that the bagger gets the first box in 10th and gets the shock, then they kind of just fake as if they're going for it. But in the end, it's going to be Kaizo making it on the second attempt. And the double exchange here is going to be kind of tricky with Hawk and Backkick side by side, but they do coordinate that pretty well. It's going to be a 2-3-4 now for AP with Kaizo leading the pack. Or actually, it's going to be a 1-3-4. Sorry, now it's going to be a top 3 with that red onto Sam there. An interesting shock. Doesn't get Backkick in. Interesting there that they don't shock the top 3, but regardless, though, it's going to be a solid top 2. A blue. Oh, this is going to be bad. This is going to be bad for Thunder. Takes the single, though. I was worried that he was going to go for the double and get blued off in the end. Frozen, in the end, only went for single and gets powed, so not able to break up those top spots. Thunder, I thought for sure kind of took a bad line, but in the end, it was laggy there. So it's going to be a top 2. Jake got 6th. Sam got 7th. Chills once again struggling getting that 8th position. I didn't see him in the front all race, unfortunately, for Apocalypse Emerald. It's going to be a top 2. I thought for sure his race was over because that lap 1 double was kind of slow. Good point there, Matt. It was kind of slow. And I mean, regardless, though, even if he did go fast, you know, the threat of Fusion goldening up in that situation could have gotten bumped off at any given moment there, but kind of took the double a little bit slow. And when you take it that slowly, you are prone to getting bumped in those situations. It's going to be race 8, ladies and gentlemen. All right, Gardens here, and I really like looking at the bagging battle in this particular track. It's kind of a game of chess, really. I mean, do you want to go backwards early, or do you want to wait for the other bagger to go? Typically, if 19 seconds pass, you just want to go, right? If you pull a star, you typically don't want to use a star in that situation. And Backkick, suicide back spamming there. I don't think he intended to hop in the cut there, but he gets the back onto Frozen nonetheless. So I wouldn't say it's an even exchange because, I mean, Backkick lost a ton of speed with that particular situation. But it looks to me like in the bagging battle, they both waited a little bit there. I think it was maybe 20 or 21 seconds in which the first bagger decided to commit there. And it looks to me like whoever that is in 9th does get the bill in the end. That's what I usually like to go backwards first in Gardens around 18, 19 seconds. Because if the other bagger overtakes you with a golden, if he pulls a golden, he's going to overtake only for you to pull a 9th place box and overtake him back. So we'll see what happens. Early shot coming in for AP. Going to be a monumental shock there. That being said, Fusion gets shocked into his own green, it looked to me like. But in the end, it doesn't matter as Backkick is able to get the back bomb off in the end. Looks to me like, yeah, Fusion really does fall really, really far behind with that particular exchange. Maybe got combo redded or something along those lines. Frozen hitting a wide back there, though. I love those wide back spams. You know, if you go wide, if you go really wide to avoid the wide back spam, you hit the flower bed. If you go tight, yeah, you'll avoid the back spam, but then you could have maybe seen a double back there from Thunder had he been in second, but he was in third in that situation. But that being said, another back spam onto Frozen here, and Kaizo is really trailing at the moment. Could have the shock, though. Yeah, we may be seeing... Actually, no, that is going to be Jack in 9th. Excuse me. I think he is going to be trying to drop a star for one of his runners. It doesn't look to me like he did in the end. This is such a big pull for Frozen, my goodness. But that's a sign that one of the baggers have it. Interesting that Sam doesn't slow down. I thought for sure that was going to be the case. Shock does come in to dodge Frozen. If they had the shock, then if they had the shock right before that exchange, I would have liked to see Frozen take that TC beforehand. Is he going to overtake Badcake? Does not. In the end, Frozen's going to be able to get Fusion. No, I was going to say Fusion was going to get third there, but he gets blued before the line, and it's going to be probably a slightly winning race there for AP. Yeah, maybe Sam and Frozen didn't opt to go for that particular play in which Sam could have slowed down to pass the TC off to Frozen there, because maybe the shock would have canceled the TC had it come. But yeah, I think that was the move there, to wait for the TC to hit first and then dodge Frozen. But in the end, it wasn't enough, and it's going to be a 1-3-5 for AP. The start of a comeback here, potentially. Still down 72, though, after everything is said and done. I hope I'm providing, entertaining enough content and, accurate enough of content, because I know at times I do get confused. You guys know me at this point. I don't think it's any surprise that, every now and again I do make a mistake here and there, but I try my best, and I hope that I'm, providing some good content here. So that being said, BC3 going to be coming out here for SA. And I know Backcake is very solid at the Ultra as well as Thunder. So if it does pick BC3, I do think that SA still have a little bit of work to do. It's not going to be a complete given for them, but we'll see what happens going forward. It will pick BC3. I know Frozen and Jake are very, very solid in that particular shortcut as well. So expect to see, a 2v2 battle potentially if they find themselves in mid spots. If Badcake is in first, I don't think he's going to risk the Ultra. If Frozen is in first, I do think he will. I think Badcake is a little bit more safe with his playstyle. Only takes risks when absolutely necessary. That being said, Frozen's going to go into his Mega right away. Nicely done not to Schlag Fusion there. Good awareness and nicely done there from Frozen. Just slowing down ultra heavily there to really keep AP at bay. Is he going to try to block? I thought for sure he could have blocked the cut there, body blocked the cut with those greens, but instead he backs a couple, doesn't get any backs in the end, and fails there. And we did see Badcake failing the Ultra on the other POV, so kind of an even exchange there. We are going to be seeing him going for the Shroomless though. He doesn't take risks when he's in top spots, but if he's in a mid spot, he's almost always going to be going for the Shroomless there. He goes for it when needed. He's more consistent with the Shroomless than he is with the Ultra, so we'll see what happens here. Kaizo is going to be falling off with Bill from the looks of it, winning the bagging battle by quite a bit. I think maybe Jack had a little bit of trouble making the backwards strat and then ended up trying to chain in ninth in the end. Thunder's going to be going for that Ultra. Shock comes in. I think that had to have been an SA Shock, but it looks to me like Chills was able to dodge and take the Shroomless there. So very nicely done, and nicely done there from Badcake to be able to prevent himself from getting bumped off there. It was a bit of a tricky situation, but he was able to adjust himself mid-bump and make the cut there, and Frozen misses. It's a wide backspin there from Sam that catches both Jake and Badcake. Jake trying to bump off Badcake in that situation. In the end, I think, okay, and Badcake does get hit out in the end. I think Frozen at this point, just go for the star drops or try to at least, if Jazak has the shock in ninth potentially, then try to go for him in a star. But Frozen's going to continue to run here. I find this very interesting. Trying to maybe snag a spot or two in the end. We do see Jake trying to go for the Ultra right before that TC connects, but the TC connects right beforehand. And Thunder with the shock dodge in the end there. So it's going to be what looks to me like a very solid race for AP, but Chills hits the wide back. Who got first in the end? I couldn't quite see. It's going to be a 1-3-6-7. Yeah, it's going to be a +5 race there for SA. Race 10 is upon us, and Sakura have kind of extended their lead a little bit more. Jaggy not doing too bad. I think the bagging is fairly even, but Kaizo is getting a little bit unlucky in the bagging department at the moment. Frozen is going to be able to come up the rear, but the trail bomb runs right into it. and that's going to extend AP's lead a little bit with Thunder locking that down. Frozen is going to go for the turn skip, but clips the wall at the end of it there, so not able to get up there. But he is going to take an 8th place. No, he misses the box entirely. Frozen does on the other POV. That is absolutely crucial. Had he gotten a star there, maybe he could have ran that up. And now he's going to get a 7th place box instead of an 8th place one. Gets a golden anyway, so maybe gets partially bailed out. Back kick does get starred on the other POV in midair. So we'll see how much of a factor that plays. Frozen gets bumped. A little bit of a laggy situation there, as Jake was not able to, or Frozen wasn't able to avoid that bump from Jake, rather. Going to that Mega very early, maybe predicting a lap 2 shot coming in from AP, as they are kind of falling behind a little bit with Chills in 7th and Backache in 8th, but they opt not to go for that lap 2 dodge. They're going to be holding on to this. Frozen hits a tight fib, and it's going to allow Backache to overtake him right after dodging. Don't think it's going to play too much of a factor, as, you know, a golden here is not really the best item. I mean, it is a decent item, but, you know, that boost panel, you know, some runners are going to at least keep pace with Backache goldening there. Going to be able to back the bomb there, and it catches Frozen on the other POV, as well as Fusion. So that was a huge bomb in the end. It's going to be a bottom 3 for SA. Very, very clutch shock there coming in from Kaizo. Comeback potentially on here for AP. Will we see it? Oh, that was a top 4. I did not see that. Oh my god. I was looking at the bagging battle. The top 4 coming in for AP. My goodness, I am so sorry for that, ladies and gentlemen. I was looking back at the VOD to see who got the better of the other in the bagging exchange. So top 4 coming in for AP. The table bot, unfortunately, is down at the moment. So if somebody could get the scores for me, I will catch you up to speed. Unfortunately, I do not know the score line, so I won't be able to have a metric to be able to provide. But other than that, let's go as if, you know, the show must go on, of course. Sam is able to shroom up. Only had 1 shroom in that situation. Backache not able to get the draft onto Jake, but Hawk gets the trail. Backache gets the trail. Good early start here for AP. We'll see what Frozen does here. Opts to go for that mid-spot box and gets the golden in 6th. So that is a huge pull. And Fusion is able to get up to first, as he did have triple shrooms in that instance. It looks to me like Kaizo is winning out in the bagging exchange thus far. Able to slip past Jazak, I think, as Jazak committed first. Looks to me like Kaizo is running away with the shock here, so this is huge for AP. Backache gets the red off onto Fusion. Fusion does have another shroom to back himself up. Doesn't get redded on the second occurrence, so we are going to be seeing him locking down that second position. Backache throwing that first snipe attempt tight, second wide. Throws that green inside of the pipe. Good attempt there. Ooh, that invincibility barely carried Backache past that particular green, but the random green hits Hawk. Fusion backs 3 nanas wide. Backache not able to get his protection out as the shot comes in. It's going to be Chills coming up the rear. Sam also, I think, pulling triple shrooms after getting shocked into boxes. And Frozen gets bumped. Frozen gets bumped by one of the AP players coming up on the other POV, but it looks to me like Backache is not able to get a topmost spot there. This could be a top 3, though. Yeah, I did see a big race coming in from AP, but it's going to be a 19-point race. 1 race to go, ladies and gentlemen. They are bringing this back, and with that, they are going to be down, you know, in the 20s around that, because I don't have the table bot. AP, good point. Are they going to demand top 3 in room? There is a rule, I think, that if there are 2 races left in any particular situation, then the team is allowed to force an instance in which they keep the spots that they had in the race prior. The spots are set going into race 11, so I think they are able to force the top 3-7 going into room. I do think it's a kind of a weird ruling. Why not like GP3 instead of, you know, the last 2 races? But that being said, the rules are the rules. And AP need this win. I mean, if we look at the bracket here, I mean, starting off 0-5 with only 2 points to their name, really not the start that AP were looking for. I don't think they were predicted to get a top 3 spot. I think that, yeah, they were predicted to get last overall. You know, a lot of question marks going into Apocalypse's roster. You know, are they going to be able to play the likes of Backache, Thunder, and Mike consistently? I know Backache, you know, assuming he doesn't oversleep, you know, he will be able to play. And they do schedule their matches at stupid hours anyway. Most of their matches are at, like, you know, 11 p.m. Eastern time. But, yeah, that is one question mark. And then the second question mark is, you know, how are the likes of Chills and, you know, maybe 1 or 2 other backup runners that they have, how are they going to perform? How are they going to be able to back up the likes of Backache and Thunder? And even the 2 strongest runners, Backache and Thunder, well, I shouldn't say 2 strongest because Hawk is in the lineup, but Hawk hasn't played consistently. But how are the likes of Backache and Thunder going to play? Because they are a little bit more spotty than the likes of Frozen and Jake. Who are we waiting on? Jazak. Sigh. There we go. There we go. He's in the room now. Okay. Just taking his time. Maybe he was meditating before the stream. That's not an inside joke yet, but I want to make this an inside joke. If somebody takes too long to join the room, I'm going to make that an inside joke. They were meditating before the room. The first time in which I said that in a cast was somebody was talking in chat while they were already playing. I don't remember who exactly. I think, no, it was Adam. It was Insect. Yes, it was, yeah, it was Velicor versus Sakura. And Adam/Insect was talking in the chat and, like, focus on the game or something. Like, meditate or something before the game. Don't get too nervous on the stream or something like that. Of course, that aged quite poorly because he got banned the match after. So it's crazy how things can just change in a flash. I think, you know, Insect's ban was a little bit more shocking than Crysis's ban. I think we all kind of, we weren't really surprised at Crysis being banned. I mean, he was fairly sus throughout his tenure in this particular game. That being said, though, we are going to be seeing AP starting off in top 3. For those of you just coming in, there is a rule set in which, or there is something in the rule set in which after race 10, going into race 11 and race 12, if there were to be a reset, then the team can force the spots in which they got prior to the reset. Bit of a weird rule, like I said. Why not make it GP3 rather than the last 2 races? But it is what it is. We are going to be seeing Toad's Factory coming out here. A little bit speculative, I might say, because, you know, SA are occupying 4th. If he gets the draft, then it's going to shake up the spots entirely. That being said, Backache is going to be, I don't think he takes that out of a line. I do think he maybe should have swerved a little bit more. But that being said, Jake not able to get the draft. And Backache is going to schlag. He has very good schlag work, I will say. He doesn't need triple reds or triple greens to be able to schlag. He's able to schlag with a trail just fine. That being said, Jake gets trailed there by Hawk. It's going to be a top 3. I mean, this is what you need. This is what you need for AP. And is Backache going to hold on to this mega, or is he going to provide the schlag work? Pow coming in keeps his mega. Hawk gets partially target powed, and Backache does slip on that Nana. I will change the score just now. 319 to 318. This is looking very solid for AP. I mean, they're really starting to break. And I think it's smart, honestly, for Backache to... Okay, now he's doing the schlagging. I was going to say maybe it's smart for him to hold the mega, considering that, you know, SA have to risk the shock. And so, you know, they could easily pull the shock later on. But that being said, the schlagging did not work out in the end. Fusion is able to red him out. Still going to be a top 2. The pack is starting to tighten up a little bit with second not going for Shroomless. You know, this is 2021. You would like to see going for the Shroomless. And we are going to be seeing Hawk, I think, still locking down first. The spots are really mixed now. It's anybody's ball game going into this lap. Blue comes in. Okay, this was looking very good for SA. That is going to be Hawk getting blued. It is going to be what looks to me like a 3-4-5 after Hawk gets blued. SA, I think, occupying first. Backache is going to be able to build up. don't know the extent to which that's going to benefit him. It looks to me like, yes, Thunder's going to get shock redded, but the shock comes in. Jake comes up the rear. That's going to be lights out for Apocalypse Emerald. They are going to fall 0-6 in the season. Sakura is able to keep their season alive, staying afloat after, you know, a couple of rough losses, especially that loss against Felicor. That was right down to the wire. That is going in my MKPS Season 2 down to the wire montage, ladies and gentlemen. Wait, did AP and SA bet on this particular match? Honestly, I wouldn't be surprised. That's a top 4-9 for SA. A fridge to finish off the war. That is an absolutely perfect way to seal this game. I mean, AP had that in the bag. They really did. I do wonder as well what Frozen's heart rate was. Unfortunately, doesn't have the heart rate monitor for this stream, but I can assure you his heart rate was at least 130. So, oh my god, I mean, what can I say? That was a hell of a match. AP almost pulling out that dramatic comeback, but in the end, not playing TF as well as they could have. And they were in prime positions to pull it out, but unfortunately not able to do so. And as for the Indivs, I want to take a look at who really showed out. I think the hero of this particular match, I gotta say, you know, Jake. I think Jake was fairly consistent. Only 87, but I mean, yeah, everyone else kind of split the Indivs. Fusion 93, Frozen 88, Jake 87. I do think that Jake was up there quite a bit. I do think there were 1 or 2 races like DKS, for example, in which he placed 8th. So it was either like, you know, top 2, top 3, or maybe 1 or 2 8th place finishes for Jake. But I didn't really expect Sam to show out. He's kind of struggled so far this season, and he did place 63, but unfortunately for AP, they weren't able to capitalize, as Chills also didn't really have the best performance, and overall, I mean, it was a failure from AP to capitalize on certain situations in the end. I mean, the shot count was actually slightly in favor of SA there. I do think that Jack did a little bit better than I thought he would. Maybe there were a couple of tracks, like I mentioned at the beginning of the cast, that he has a couple of tracks that he's not very strong at, but when he did win out in the bagging exchanges, he did win out by quite a bit. So fairly even bagging exchanges there. Sakura come out with the win. We'll see you guys on the flip side.